Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the February 24th workshop of the Board of County Commissioners. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First up, we have our 12 Hours of Mesa Verde Bike Race presentation by Mr. J. Balfour. Would you please come on down?
Boy.
All but Mr. J. Balfour. Come on down, Nick McDonald and Kirk Underwood. You can come on down also if you would like to, Jenny. You get to be on camera. Turn around and smile.
Yeah. Turn around, smile. Camera's back there in the ceiling.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. What do we have this year?
Another race. We're just here for our usual annual ask for approval of being able to distribute or hand out donated alcoholic products that come from Scott Brewing or from PRB in Morris or Wild Ridge.
Can I get you, Nick, to turn that mic on and pull it real close to your mouth? Well, we can hear you, but everybody on
Our
YouTube
seven
cannot
fans
hear
can't
you.
hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. So, do you need me to repeat all of that again?
No, we'll
Okay.
go forward.
So, yeah, we're just here to ask for the approval again from the commissioners and the fairgrounds to do so, and if there's anything else that we need to discuss that may be coming to light or we don't know about, then do so.
The only thing that I will highlight, and it's typically just the two beverages per person, right?
Yeah, and a lot of times it's one, because we don't have that
Correct, the
that much. I
capacity.
mean, with the participants, yeah, I mean, we don't have an exact amount that SCA will give, but it's one. I'm going to say it's
Okay.
one.
Well, I think the ask was always for two, just in case they had more, but I think you're still over 900,
Yes.
correct,
Yes.
participants?
That's what we're expecting right now.
Okay.
Are you filled up already?
Some categories we are,
Okay.
yeah. So there's some limited slots left, but definitely the solo people, they like punishment. It's sold out, has been sold out for a couple weeks now, and we still have people wanting in, but that category's full, so. it's on
Yeah,
the
that's
wait list.
the category I was trying to get in.
I figured.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saved a spot for you, though.
They told me, oh, you saved a
Yeah,
spot.
we saved a spot for you. No backing out now.
Well, maybe,
How about that?
maybe we can rethink that.
You're gonna go ahead and be kind and give it to somebody else.
Yeah,
Right.
I feel giving,
Such a sacrifice.
I'll be there to support them. No, I think you guys do a great job out there. I would also like to highlight that all of the funds that you guys do collect, and, you can put a little bit more into this, Nick, but it stays right here locally into this community. And it's a big chunk of money, what you guys have done in the past 5 years or 6 years since I've been here. And I thank you all. It's a great weekend. It's good for the community in all walks of life. I think it's a great use of our fairgrounds, and I appreciate it. So I don't have anything else at this point in time. Commissioners, do you?
No, I think it's a good weekend. Lots of people obviously and enjoying themselves, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
they usually bring rain, so we're all right.
Yeah, you know what? We have for the last number of years. I'm due for a year without some weather events for sure. So when it wasn't, what was it, 3-4 years ago? It wasn't even weather. It was the,
It was the fire.
yeah, it was a
Yeah.
fire that was down at that transfer station down there. Or
Yeah.
the Empire Electric's field blew up. That transformer blew up and caught fire. Yeah, so, yeah, it's always something, but I think we're due for a year with just good 70 degrees would be perfect.
It is Mother's Day. I'm not quite sure we're going to hit 70 degrees, but we might get 68.
I don't know, the trend right now is,
It's supposed to be 67 tomorrow.
yeah, yeah.
So, the one thing I would like to ask of the commissioners though, because we do give away all of our proceeds, and we're always trying to track those costs, are you guys foreseeing any cost increase in the following year? As far as our use and permits and different things?
We're
reviewing fees
we're
right now.
reviewing fees right now because, and I will probably say yes. It probably won't be over 200%, but
Not over 200?
yeah, not over 200%, but
100% would still be a pretty big hefty chunk to us.
I'm just kidding you. Yeah, there probably will be a fee increase. You know, I don't know what. I can't say, but you know, we're not trying
No.
to gouge anything. We're just trying to break even. Our whole focus is we've got to break even.
Isn't that a heck of a
And-
note for just to break even?
Yeah, well.
That's
yeah,
all
I
we're
mean,
trying to do is break even.
Sure.
So again, we just had at our department head meeting last week, we asked all of our department heads to look at all of your fees that we have throughout the county. And we'll start putting some numbers to them. So I would say yes, there probably will be an increase, but to what degree of an increase, it won't be 100%. But
Okay.
there probably will be, and it will probably be as minimal as we can make it. But again, we're trying to just break even.
Okay.
So
Any indication on when we might know that, just for planning purposes?
Travis,
July.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
and again, I don't think you guys, have you seen, well, we probably did one increase in 2020, the worst year we could have ever done it, but I think it's,
Yeah, I
when
think
we
we
put
had
them
an
in place.
increase, was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
or
Possibly?
maybe 2 years ago, so.
Yeah.
um, Here again, like I said,
Yeah,
our costs continue to rise just like you're all.
yeah. And we're
Um,
just trying to keep it to where, obviously, we give away as much money as
Mhm.
possible, right? That's
Mhm.
our goal. But not to raise the user or racer fee
Yep.
so much that nobody wants to come either.
Sure.
So it's always in the back of our mind.
No, I
What's
know.
that
Tru-
balance point?
Tr-
Yeah.
Trust me, that's in the back of our minds also. That was
Sure.
a huge discussion. I mean, there was a tipping point one way or another, and we're trying to figure that out also.
Yeah. Okay.
That's just part of having to try and run a county.
Understand.
But other than that, like I said, thank you guys, appreciate it for all of your hard work, all of your hard donated work. You know, a lot of times it goes without being said, thank you. And I, you know, specifically in public want to say thank you, and we do appreciate it. And it is a great, I think it lasts longer every year. You know, it's probably close to 5 days that a lot of people are staying here. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. A lot of people are traveling from more distance now, and so they come and they stay,
Mhm.
you know, 3 days prior and go ride and check out the area before they race. So,
Yeah. And then it sounds like if you guys are going to stick around, you might want to hear the rest of this conversation, because it sounds like Mr. Padilla is going to talk about expanding Field World out there, right? Anyway, we'll make that decision tomorrow, but
Yeah.
at this point in time, I don't see any issues or concerns.
okay.
All right?
Sounds good.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Appreciate it. Okay, with that segue, Mr. Padilla, come on down. And we'll talk about what you have for Field Wilberforce.
What? I'll share. I'll share.
Oh, I got some more down here if you
That's
need.
all right. We got it. We got it.
All right, good afternoon, Commissioners. I just wanted to bring this before you. If you'll recall, not quite a few years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, during the Phil's World 2.0 expansion. At that time, it was identified that proper 106 consultation wasn't completed on Phil's World 1.0, so the original system. So due to that, it was identified that the BLM needed to, come into compliance with Section 106 before that they would allow us to proceed with 2.0. That was going to take a long time to do and things of that sort. So the compromise, became, well, okay, you can go ahead and move forward with Phil's World 2.0, but you have to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the State Historic Preservation Office that you are going to mitigate impacts, if there are any, once the cultural resource surveys were complete. Enter into agreement saying that we would do that. So we've gotten all that completed, and then we've identified, reroutes that were needed because trails were going through archaeological sites. So due to that, we came up with this plan for the reroutes. What you have in orange there is what we would close, and what is in green is what we would construct. So this would still maintain, loops and connectivity from east to west through Phil's World there for the motorized community, but it actually results in an overall 1.5 miles less of motorized trail. We looked for other opportunities to try to, maintain the same level of trails, but just due to several, resource concerns out there, this was the best that we could do. So again, it still maintains, that connectivity between east to west and loops as well, but there is a small reduction in mileage. That trail system doesn't get a lot of motorized use. It's mostly, I think, locals, from what we see, that ride from their house to go on an evening ride or something. There's only about 15 miles of motorized single track in that area, and it's mostly single track folks in that area. So they do that in a matter of about 30, 45 minutes, which isn't a really desirable ride for somebody. So that's why it's just the locals, like I said, getting a ride in the evenings and things of that sort. So we just wanted to bring this before you to see if there was any concerns from the county before we make a final decision on this. We are doing it through what's called a determination of NEPA adequacy and tiering to the original environmental assessment that was done. So it doesn't require the normal public participation process as the EA, because in the EA, when we wrote that originally, they said there may be a need, for reroutes and things of that sort, that would then be assessed with a determination of NEPA adequacy at a later date, and that's what we've done. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, and there again, I just want to see if there was any questions or concerns from the commission before we finalize the decision on this. I guess give you a little more background. We did also do some rerouting of single track mechanized trails, but we've been working really closely with Southwest Colorado Cycling Association on those. So they're in full support of that. So we felt comfortable going ahead and moving forward with making the decision on those, just so that we could take advantage of actually the weather that we're having currently, and then the availability of Southwest Cycling Association to begin work on those reroutes on the mechanized sections. And then just some of this is related to cultural resources, and then also some of it's related to avoidance of private land that we currently have but could potentially go away in the future. So we try to address that now as well.
So I'll start. Derek, thanks for the map. So the green is what you're going to reconstruct, correct?
Well, construct, yeah, not
Or
reconstruct.
construct, I'm
Correct.
sorry. And the orange is all going away.
Correct.
And that's the 1.5 miles of reduction.
Well, between what we're reducing in the orange and adding in the green, there's a 1.5 mile difference.
Of difference.
Yeah.
Does that still, like, for the 12 hours of Mesa Verde, that they would be able to get all their units out there to where they need to go?
Yes.
Still?
Yeah, like I said, most of the mechanized reroutes really didn't, they were little minor things to
Okay.
avoid the private land, and are actually still available because the private landowner, at least at this point, is still allowing for that use. I don't know if the 12 hours of Mesa Verde goes through that piece of private down here in the
Mhm.
southwest section, but yeah, but the 12 hours of Mesa Verde would not be impacted by these reroutes.
Okay.
It actually might even provide some new trail for next year.
I mean, I guess my only concern is when we do a reduction, it's always a reduction. We never have an increase.
Well, I'll just bring back that during the TAP 1 analysis, we actually did a lot of work out in the Mud Springs area
Mhm.
to allow for expansion of motorized use out there. And then we've also, over in the aqueduct system, while it's not for single track, like motorcycle motorized, we did designate a lot of that trail for Class 1 e-bike use. So that's some of the things that they did. I wasn't around here when all this happened, but or I was around here, but I wasn't the decision maker. But they did think about that and identify other opportunities for increased motorized use elsewhere, just not here in Phil's World specifically.
Yeah.
And like I said, they did look really hard to try to maintain, a 1-for-1 and just couldn't find it.
Okay. Like I said, I ride out there a bit, and I hear motorized vehicles out there, but I don't see them all the time.
Mhm.
And I think that's most generally known as mountain bike trails. There is some, motorcycles out there, but I don't
Right.
hear them a lot, so I don't think it's probably that big of a deal. My concern is always like, even if we're trying to train young kids or somebody real close to home, just a reduction is always my concern.
Mhm.
Not here in this area, I think everybody really focuses on the mountain bikes in this area. I don't have anything else. Gentlemen, do you?
No. Gerald, you have anything?
No, I don't. I mean,
We gonna open up 1.5 miles somewhere else? I mean,
Well, like I said, they thought about that, at the time that might be necessary, and that's why they did expand opportunities over in the Mud Springs area. So that's already been, that was already taken into consideration back then. They didn't know, exactly what the impact of having to go through the cultural resource surveys were going to be. But like I said, they did add more motorized opportunities over there.
Okay. And SWCCA's on board?
With the mechanized, and they didn't have much input with
Input,
regards to
okay.
the motorized section.
All right. Anything else, gentlemen?
no.
All right, so most likely we'll sign this decision here in the next couple of weeks, and we had planned on starting implementation this summer using Southwest Conservation Corps crews, but well, it's with the state OHV grant, so yeah, we should be able to still continue to get that completed.
Okay.
All right,
All right.
that's all I had.
I have one other question for
Sure.
you, because we are all getting asked a lot of questions of us. So, as far as the BLM and the federal layoffs, so on and so forth around here, how is that impacting us locally? Have you seen a significant impact, or what's your long-range forecast for our area?
So thus far, we've only had one employee that was impacted by the probationary employee terminations. It was one of our new range people. We are concerned, about that just because, we have a pretty big backlog of NEPA that we need to complete. That's also some priority NEPA that needs to be complete with regards to Gunnison sage grouse habitat and allotments that are associated with that. That would all be up in the Disappointment Valley area up there. So it wouldn't affect the county, per se, but it would affect constituents of the county. So that's definitely a big concern. Another position that we had hired and was supposed to report on February 8th, on February 9th, was a realty specialist position. That there again, we have a huge backlog in processing realty actions. So that's people's driveways, rights of ways, easements to the counties, things of that sort. The cutoff date for honoring those job offers was February 8th, so we missed it by a day. They were supposed to be reported by February 8th, and our report date was February 9th, so we missed out on that one. So we're, waiting until the dust settles to figure out, what our organization is going to look like, once, the entire, federal workforce restructuring is going to look like before we make any major decisions on how we're going to continue to get our work done. But those are the two positions that have been impacted right now. We have some others that are impacted more related to budget, not so much what's going on with the federal workforce, that we've made the decision to hold on until a budget is passed so that we can see where we're at as an agency before committing dollars to a position. But it's kind of a moot point right now because we can't hire anyways, so.
Okay. So I guess I'll say this, it's not a super significant impact at this point in time.
Not a super significant impact,
Okay.
correct.
All right. Do you guys have anything else for Derek?
No.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, Mr. Talley, come on down. We're going to talk about the Edward Byrne? Memorial Justice Assistant Grant, and I guess this is probably the TASER grant that we've seen in front of us?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're seeking the,
Real quick, Mr. Talley, can you turn your mic? There you go.
And pull it real close,
Real close.
real close.
We are seeking approval to apply for the grant in the sum of $161,187.60. It is to replace the aging X2 tasers, the other half. We previously, last year, got the exact same grant for half of the tasers that we have, replacing them with taser 10s.
Okay, so I'll probably ask Robert to come on down because obviously this is a grant and we're looking at all of our grants just due to the significance of are they going to actually get reimbursed or are they not? So this is basically the same amount or 50% of what we had accepted last year, correct, Robert?
It is, yeah. This is very, not to the penny, but very similar to the amount we
Real close. So
requested
have
last
we
year.
been reimbursed for that yet?
We have not. We are in the process of submitting that reimbursement. We haven't paid Axon for the tasers yet. And we're working on the best way to manage that process and make sure that we aren't overexposed to any potential risk of not being reimbursed.
So would it be prudent to hold on this grant until we get reimbursed for the first grant? Or
I
would
think
it
we
be-
should still move forward with applying.
Okay.
We wouldn't be awarded until later this summer, probably May, June, somewhere in there, and we will have a much better idea of the reimbursement process from that first half by then. I do think we want to be careful about about buying, even if we're awarded, if we don't think or if we have any concerns about reimbursement, being careful about putting the county out for that funding.
So in other words, don't order them.
Don't order them, or potentially order them in chunks, to minimize the risk. But yeah, we'll look at all those options. But I do think in the interim, the grant is still open. They're still planning on funding this, so I think we should apply for it. And then if circumstances change somewhere along the line, we can always hit the brakes and make sure that the county remains protected.
Well, and we wouldn't even be able to order until October at least anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
Okay.
What do we do with the old tasers? We get a trade-in or something?
yes, we return those to Axon.
But these are only good for like 3 to 5 years again, correct?
They're under warranty for 5 years. They can actually last longer than that. The good thing about the bundle that we're doing is we have the warranty for 5 years, and they supply cartridges for both training and for use. If we happen to use a taser, they will replace those just automatically without a cost.
Okay. Questions?
How often do we use a taser? Do you have any idea?
We probably have maybe 10 events a year.
Okay.
The training is significant.
Yes.
Each deputy, like with the X2s, have to shoot 2 cartridges for their training, and you're looking at about $40 a cartridge.
Do we get more of those in the jail or outside of the jail, or is it equal?
I would say outside.
Outside?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you.
thank you. Ms. Hargraves must have a stand-in today. Promoting Safe and Stable Families Grant Request.
It's not necessarily a request, it's just an amendment for a contract that
Pull that mic up to you, turn it on, please. Sorry. Have to remind everybody.
Oh, you don't have to remind, they just don't want anybody to hear them, that's all. And that's me too. Anyway, it's the 5th year of a 5-year contract that gets approved every year.
Okay.
So this is just,
This is just an amendment in order to move some of the money around so that we have make sure that the money's going to get used.
do you have any questions or concerns on this, Stephen?
I do not. I looked this over. Kelli had sent it to me maybe a week or so ago, and if I'm remembering the conversation right, I think the sort of the extra money that we're asking for is money that wasn't being used by other counties, if I'm remembering that right.
It was probably put in a line item that is not getting utilized. So the amendment is to move it so that we will utilize that money,
Yeah.
basically.
Okay. So it's just a reoccurring
Just a renewal
addendum
with
to the original contract?
Yes.
Okay. Questions?
No.
All right.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
you are welcome. Should I shut it off or leave it on? You like this one?
Okay. Next up is the Do It Software and Support Contact Renewal, Ms. Percell.
Good morning, afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So basically, this is just a renewal of a contract that we use. We've had it for about 5 years, and this is just extending that contract for the software and the maintenance. They've put in a little bit of a increase in it each year, but they're starting this back at the original price of $10,000 a year for this year.
And
Yeah.
I looked this over. I didn't have any issues with it or anything like that. I talked a little bit about it, and I think we understand what the obligations are for the county under the contract, and they all seem reasonable.
Okay.
So do you guys know what this equipment is? Do I need to, okay.
I do.
I think we do, but actually for the public, if you want to,
So basically, this is our Agilis Duo equipment that helps us with our ballot sorting. When we bring in the ballots, we run it through the Agilis Duo, and it scans all of the signatures. And so then after the election in the past, we were required to scan each individual ballot to place that inside of each voter registered, or in the voter's registration. This does a download, so it used to take us months. Now it takes us about an hour. We just download everybody's signatures into their records. So that's basically its main purpose.
okay. So again, software, which is something that we have to have every year to run the county. I mean, our software budget is a pretty big ticket budget. So, okay. Thank
That
you
was
very
easy.
much.
Thank you. You know, I don't know how it recognizes Gerald's signature. I mean, he's just. One of them doctors, you know, just.
All right, last but not least, Travis, this will be a grant administration and funding policy discussion.
Commissioners, it's kind of apropos that we're going down this path based upon what's going on with the federal grants and the state grants, but what we're trying to do is incorporate some best practices and some better oversight for departments and elected officials seeking grants. Obviously, as identified, a lot of the grants pose significant financial accountability on the counties, especially reimbursement grants, unfunded mandates, grants. You will get this grant and pay 25%. So basically what we're trying to do is incorporate and streamline a grant process and a grant policy. Basically it outlines everybody's roles and responsibilities, the goals and missions of the commission, and also when they're looking to apply for a grant, they actually, people wanted a matrix, but on grants you really can't do matrices. So it's going to be a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And there is carve-outs in here for core programs such as social services and public health. And if you really look at it on a scale of 1 to 10, I've looked over some other policies. A scale of 10 is some counties have 30-day waiting periods. You have to go through an entire process. 1 is basically you just do as you want, and this is probably a 3 as far as oversight. So we're wanting to encourage grants, but I think we need to have a lot more eyes on it to make sure that we're not going down a path of creating financial risk to the county.
Okay. Questions? Stephen, any comments?
I think, you know, as I understand it, really the purpose of this policy is to just have some oversight over this whole process. And so I think that's a totally appropriate thing that's within the, you know, the scope of the board and also just administration's role in the county. And so, you know, this is one way to do that. I don't think that there's anything, you know, totally out of line here. I think, you know, it's geared to do that, to just make sure that there is the, you know, this amount of oversight and just allow for some checks basically to make sure that exactly what Travis just said, just having another set of eyes over any additional risks. I know we talk a lot about, you know, matching requirements and things like that. They're going to create some financial liability for the county, and then also just the details of each grant. So I think it's an appropriate policy for what we're trying to accomplish.
All right, thank you. Okay. I see nothing else, and we have nothing else on the agenda, so this workshop is terminated. We're at a close. Thank you all.